Glim Spanky. If any band had better summed up the idea of classic, straightforward, but soulfully delivered rock music, well, I mean, it's got to be Glim Spanky. They are just such a quintessential cornerstone of that part of the Japanese music scene. And they are here with a new song, which I believe is called Daitenshi. I looked this up a little bit earlier. I think it means Archangel. And so no idea what this song is going to be about. But all I do know is that there is a rather interesting opening shot there where Remy is staring directly at us. And I don't know what that hat is, but I feel like that hat means business. So let's find out. I really enjoyed their last song that I checked out. I think it was Camera Irony. And Camera Irony I really enjoyed. That was a hell of a single. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we get here. Maybe it's going to go in a different direction. Maybe it's going to be another one of those kind of very single focused songs. Already liking the fact that we have the 4:3 aspect ratio for the video, which is just kind of showing that old school vibe. Although, do you know what? I am more and more thinking, we're seeing more and more 4:3 aspect ratio music videos. And I'm wondering whether that's because people want it to look better on a smartphone, but by the same token, it's like no one wants to go, there's some tall screen videos, but they look a bit not usually great. So I'm wondering whether this is kind of why we're seeing more 4:3 videos. I don't know. Anyway, let's check it out. This is Glim Spanky with Daitenshi.
蘇る私は大天使満身創痍でも I don't care でしょこんな地獄だって愛したい
Did not see that coming. Oh, I'm liking the kind of the funky vibe to this.
ああまた切らしてばっか好奇心消費期限気づけばの天気
That bass line is amazing.
ぐるぐる考え込んでわかんなくなるのなんで見つめて気持ち悪くなった情熱は冷めてくのただけ clap your hands 血をたぎらそう逆さまの天国では居心地なんて良くないでしょ一度ゼロにしたい蘇る私は大天使悪魔の先にはさせない
Of course, it's the intro, yeah.
決まりの明日に興味ないのときめいてたいからまた破りのロマン
Yeah, I know where this is.
これが小説なら I don't care でしょこんな地獄だって愛したい
You know, something about filming music videos in Tokyo. It's a perfect city for music videos. 興味津々よ期限気づけば好天気まさかの予定変更ぐるぐる I'm loving how funky this is. It's got like a punkish speed. Yeah, like a kind of a soulful funk to it. Like swinging to it.
安心なんてできないから一度ゼロにしたい
Such a cool track.
私は大天使悪魔の好きにはさせないわお決まりの明日に興味ないの
Are you pixelating the McDonald's? We can still see it's McDonald's.
破りのロマンは大正義満身創痍でも I don't care でしょ
I like how the bass line's going in opposite direction there.
蘇る私は大天使悪魔も味方につけるんだよくある話に興味ない
This like sort of 3 a.m. music video as well. Very cool. Tokyo is definitely your movie set at 3 a.m. You can make it, man. You can make it. Oh, maybe not.
私は大天使神様より自分を愛して
Oh, wow. Oh, just the gunshot wound for him. Yeah. Do you know what? This is very artsy. Oh, very artsy. Very artsy. A flower growing out of a gun. What could be more artsy? I, I'll be honest with you. Actually, this was kind of nice because I was saying at the beginning how I wasn't sure whether this was going to be something different or whether, as is often the case with a song that gets a music video, it was going to feel like a single. What I enjoyed about this is that it had the catchiness. It certainly had the immediate impact and like grabbing vibe that you expect from a single. But it took this in a slightly different direction. I feel like a lot of their previous songs, the bigger singles, have always had a bit of a stomp, kind of like a headbanging. Da, 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 that kind of vibe. Whereas here we've got something which is moving very quickly. It's a song that's really kind of like pacey. I mean, as I said at the time, it has a borderline punk kind of speed to it, and yet at the same time, the quintessential rhythm here. It's like a quintessentially sort of funky rhythm. You know, it really does feel like there's a bit of a shuffle to it. You kind of, rather than just headbanging, you feel more like swaying to it because it's got this kind of nice funky groove going on throughout. Realistically, to me, this was a song that it managed to hit those sort of single qualities. I know I keep on going back to that, but it's important when you talk about, like I say, songs that are given music videos. It's hit those sort of single qualities of being catchy, memorable, and engaging. But I felt it was quite different. It took a different approach. I really did enjoy as well how the bass was very much front and center in this. A lot of Glim Spanky songs, obviously, given the two members, have a kind of a guitar focus. You know, the guitar is usually the central thing. And again, we did get a superb guitar solo in here. Nice and short, but very soulful. Yeah, a lot of string bending, a lot of really kind of nice, gnarly sounds rather than twiddling. But the bass for me was the MVP here. You know, during the verses, we got that really kind of, again, quite a distorted sound, but that kind of nice, funky walking bass line that's really kind of giving everything that skip and that it's kind of the thing that the whole song is really hanging on at the beginning. Then when we go into the pre-chorus, the bass kind of drops out and just then sort of just starts hammering away at the key, you know, the central note. And you get like a octave, and then when the chorus comes in, then the bass moves back to sort of playing a more, sort of following the chord pattern more and more playing along with the other instruments. So again, it really felt like the bass was shifting up and adding a lot of character to this. You know, having a bit of a riff, that kind of central riff in the verse, having a pre-chorus where it's just kind of hammering away at the one note and then going up an octave to build up tension, and then in the chorus, moving much more with the chord pattern of the song. Remy, as always, is just, I mean, it's when you've got a singer like that, it's kind of hard to know what to say from one reaction to the next because it basically just comes back to the same thing. She's just fantastic all the time. Absolutely adore the unique sound of her voice, the grit that she has, the soul that she has. And again, it carried across here just as well as in other songs. I mean, we already know that she's quite good at delivering fairly fast lyrics, and she did it here as well. Kept that soulful grit to her voice whilst also doing a fairly, pacey kind of delivery, quite a fast moving song. I just felt like this was one of those songs that just really, again, felt very much like it was in a comfortable space for Glim Spanky, and yet at the same time, so much of what they were doing really effective, felt different enough to definitely feel like a new song rather than kind of like a rinse and repeat sort of thing of just, oh, well, this is what worked for us. This song felt like it was genuinely had a really fun idea behind it. The video as well was a ton of fun. I thought it was kind of playful. It is quite true. We've talked on this channel a lot of times before about the stereotypical music videos you often see, Shibuya Crossing, rooftops, the Abyss performing in front of a white background, R17, the big sort of hangar warehouse thing. It's actually a go-kart track in Saitama. These like locations you keep on seeing, but one of the best ones that we don't talk about enough. Oh, and people always perform on the beach. I forgot about that. One of the ones we don't talk about enough is the fact that if you go around Tokyo at 3 a.m., it's this beautiful, massive city, and yet it's quiet. So quiet. And yeah, you can just go film a music like this at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and it's easy. Easy. So I loved that. I loved that kind of late night in Tokyo vibe that this music video gave off so gleefully. Yeah, this was just a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this. Is it? It's obviously always going to stand at that one problem that any single from a long running and successful band is always going to stand up against, which is like, well, how does it compare to their other singles? Is this like my favorite Glim Spanky song ever? Probably not, no, but it holds true to everything that I love about the band. It's not taking them to some brand new place we've never seen them go before, but what it is it's kind of repeating the things that you want from Glim Spanky whilst being fresh enough to feel like a new song rather than just a kind of a we have to release a single, so here's a generic repeat. It's sitting very much on that line, but of course that is the line that I often talk about where we come back to that one thing you have to say. For long-time fans, you're going to love it. Is it going to win over anyone who wasn't a fan previously? Probably not. But, I mean, sometimes, the one thing that always falls through in that example is sometimes you get people who just haven't heard of the band. So sometimes you have to keep on releasing singles just so that people who maybe hadn't heard you before, maybe sit down, watch a reaction channel, think, oh, what's this Glim Spanky thing? Click on it and go, wow, I really like that band. What do you mean they got other singles like this? I never heard of them before. And then becomes a fan. So maybe that's you. Anyway, there you go. That's my reaction to this one. I thought this was lovely. This just keeps me loving Glim Spanky. I'm already a fan, so I'm in the target demographic. But as always, get in the comments. Tell me what you think. And until I hopefully see you here in Japan. Well, actually, I'm in Korea right now. But until I see you back here sometime soon. For now, ciao, ciao.